beautiful accidental exorcist, you, unconscious spiritual fumigator. You walked through that door like it was Tuesday, and suddenly the walls stopped bleeding. The shadows retreated, the whispers went silent, the century-old curse just packed its bags and left, because you showed up smelling like purpose, and they couldn't handle it. You didn't even notice, did you, that the temperature rose 15 degrees when you crossed the threshold? That the black mold in the corners started dissolving? That the flies dropped dead mid-flight? You were too busy thinking about dinner or scrolling your phone or humming that song stuck in your head, while meanwhile you just performed a spiritual genocide on entities that had lawyers in hell, filing complaints about your existence. Let me tell you what really happened when you walked through that door, because you're sitting there confused, wondering why the house feels different, why the air tastes cleaner, why your chest doesn't feel heavy anymore. You think it's coincidence. You think it's imagination. You think maybe you're just having a good day, but no, my friend. You just accidentally became the thing nightmares warn their children about. They'd been there for decades, these things. These parasites, these ancient squatters, feeding on misery, recycling trauma, brewing depression in the walls like it was their personal meth lab, generation after generation of suffering. And then you showed up, radiating something they couldn't metabolize, something that burned their tongues when they tried to taste your energy, something that made them realize they'd rather dissolve than deal with whatever the hell you are. You want to know why they ran, why they scattered like roaches when the light hits? Why 100 years of darkness just said nope and evacuated? Because you're not normal. You're not regular. You're not one of the sleepwalkers they usually feast on. You're something else entirely, something they don't have protocols for, something their training didn't cover. See, most people walk into haunted spaces and they negotiate, they compromise, they coexist with the darkness. They learn to live with the weight. But you didn't even acknowledge them. You humans who smiled while they did it. You've been betrayed by blood. You've been abandoned in your darkest hour, and you've survived all of it, which makes you infinitely more terrifying than any ghost story. That's why when you walked in humming that stupid song, not even paying attention, something shifted in the spiritual ecosystem. You weren't trying to cleanse anything. You weren't praying. You weren't burning sage. You were just existing at full capacity, and that was enough. That was more than enough. That was catastrophic for anything feeding on weakness. Because here's what nobody tells you about demons, about entities, about these parasitic presences. They're not actually powerful. They're just persistent. They're emotional vampires, spiritual leeches, metaphysical mosquitoes. And they survive on one thing only, the gap between who you are and who you think you are. But you closed that gap without even knowing it. You integrated your shadow while making breakfast. You alchemized your trauma during your commute. You transformed your pain into power so gradually, so naturally that you didn't even notice. You'd become untouchable. And when you walked through that door carrying all that processed darkness, wearing it like armor, they took one look and knew they were outmatched. They could smell it on you, the scent of someone who's been broken and refused to stay broken, the frequency terrorized by people you loved. You've been haunted by memories that make their little tricks look like amateur hour at the community theater. What's a creaking floorboard to someone who's heard their own sanity crack? What's a cold breeze to someone who's felt their soul freeze? It's like a vampire from that school with honors, with scars, with a PhD 5-mile radius, got the message, clear out. The real monster just arrived. And you're not even trying. That's what kills them. That's what makes this so beautifully brutal. You're not performing rituals. You're not declaring